Hello, Pondering Pastries, and welcome to another episode of CyniBytes, your source for games industry discourse. I'm your host, Professor Cynic. Sony rocked the gaming world yesterday when they announced that they'll be allowing crossplay on Fortnite. This will come in the form of a beta. This will allow for play and character progression on the PS4, Android, iOS, Nintendo Switch, Xbox One, and Windows Mac. I think that because of Fortnite's popularity, a lot of gamers are, understandably so, caught up in the excitement surrounding the prospect of Sony allowing crossplay for this game. However, I think that this is an absolute paradigm-shifting move by Sony. When I'm a decrepit old man lying in my nursing home bed playing Conker's Bad Fur Day for the 37th time, I think I'll look back on this as one of the most important events in gaming. But joking aside, I really do think that this is an important moment in gaming history, so I'm trying to soak it in as much as I can. And the reason is, this extends way beyond Fortnite. Assuming that the beta is a success and Sony fully commits to crossplay for Fortnite, this means that the dam has burst. Because players got what they wanted in the form of crossplay for Fortnite, they are going to, for better or worse, demand crossplay for most games that support online from here on out. I'm sure that this is something Sony was aware of when they finally decided to take the plunge, so it'll be interesting to see how this unfolds in the years to come. As for my thoughts, I think that this is a good, albeit incredibly late decision on Sony's part. The thing about this is, it is a pro-consumer move. However, Sony didn't make this move because it's pro-consumer. I have no doubts in my mind that Sony is making this decision because the public outrage over their decision to forego crossplay has probably hit a critical point. It's my belief that, originally, Sony didn't want crossplay because they wanted to lock you down to the PS4. And strategically, it makes sense because they have the biggest player base. I'm sure they saw this as, we're the top dogs, why should we share our ball with you? So I can see what they were probably thinking. Despite feeding us a load of shit in the form of telling us that crossplay wasn't happening because they believed that the best experience was on the PS4, and they didn't want to sully their users' experience by having to play with Xbox and Switch peasants. No, despite their sanctimonious outward reasoning for not allowing crossplay, I think it just came down to money. They're the top dogs and they figured the ball was in their court. Let me give you a personal anecdote about the situation. I am someone who, maybe more than the average consumer, cares about the decisions gaming companies make and will spend or not spend my money accordingly, and I think that's because I talk about gaming a lot. Well, it's the only thing I talk about. But I originally played Fortnite on the PS4, and while I haven't amassed an amount of riches that I'd really be disappointed in losing if I switched platforms, it was still really annoying that I had to make several Epic accounts if I wanted to play on another system. And then the Nintendo Switch came along. It made so much sense for me to be able to log in with my Sony-linked Epic account on the Switch so that I could play Fortnite on the go and then play on the PS4 when I was at home. And let me be clear, I've played Fortnite on both the Switch and PlayStation, and it's not even close experience-wise. The PS4 is on a Ducati, and the Switch is on one of those jazzy scooters. The experience on the PS4 is so much better, but it's still really nice to be able to play Fortnite on the go, despite the experience being poorer. Sony comes out during a press conference and announces they don't want cross-platform because they think that the best experience is on the PS4. And I'm livid. I couldn't wrap my head around this decision, because it was doubly shitty. One, they're lying to us. They may think that the best experience is on the PS4, but that's not why they're withholding crossplay. It's because of money. And two, they sound like arrogant dicks when they say they want to lock down crossplay because their console is superior. Don't tell us it, show us it. If you're that confident that your experience is the best, won't people flock to your system either way? They must have lacked confidence because up until this point they locked down their player base in crossplay gulags so that they wouldn't have to be subjected to Xbox players. Anyway, my point was, after Sony pulled these shenanigans, I made a point of playing Fortnite on the Switch only, regardless of if I was at home or not. I was willing to have a downgraded experience on the Switch when the PS4 was available to use, simply because I was tired of Sony's crap. But as I said, this is pro-consumer at the end of the day, and while Sony may be making decisions based on finances over it being good for gamers, I know they're a business. They need to make business decisions, and that includes finances. But if it's good for them, and good for gamers, then I guess I'm less inclined to be upset at the results. But expanding outside of what crossplay will offer gamers, it will have some other implications as well, so I figured we could talk about that. The one thing that comes to mind for me is that I hope this means the console experience will get even better as time goes on. And my reasoning for this: why do you buy a PS4 over an Xbox, or vice versa, let's say? You might be a fan of one of them over the other, so there's some brand loyalty there, but what does it really come down to? Games. It's always been about the software. If Sony is going to put out a lot of exclusives that you're excited about, more than what'll be offered on the Xbox, then there's a good chance that you'll lean towards the PS4. Another important consideration is, what are my friends going to get? Because, see, when the next Call of Duty or any online AAA game releases, you want to play it with your friends. And you don't want to be left out in the cold with your Xbox when your friends are having the time of their lives on the PS4. Crossplay helps to eliminate that last issue. If I buy Call of Duty knowing that I can play with friends on the Xbox or PS4, I no longer need to overly think about the consoles my friends have. And what does this mean for the consumer? Well, the only thing a company like Sony or Microsoft has to get you to their system at that point is the exclusives they offer and the experience you'll get with their console. I'm hoping that Crossplay is going to start a battle between Sony and Microsoft to create even better consoles at lower prices, while dipping into franchises we love to create more exclusives in an effort to win our hearts over. Because in the near future, we may not simply go with the console that our herd has. Companies are going to have to work harder to win our purchase, and that means better prices and better experiences for gamers. Competition, baby, let it begin. Pastries, you've been given the sticky, but let's not stop here. I want to hear from you in the comments section below. Do you think that crossplay is going to be good for gamers? Do you think that Sony took a hit on their reputation by waiting this long? Do you think crossplay is going to be the new norm? Let me know below. Please be respectful. Let's start a conversation. For more updates on my content, might I suggest following me on Twitter at Professor_Cynic. And with that, as always, I remind you to stay cynical.